Alright, so continuing from the last lesson where we built that index toe, I'm going to delete history so that we don't have any errors and problems. I'm going to go to the side and kind of continue making that toe sort of realistic. And the toes, they come down from kind of a higher level, and just a little pad of the toe is going to touch the ground. The stem of the toe isn't going to touch it. So we kind of try to pull that up. Okay, so it's not exact, but that's kind of what we're going with for now. We could tweak it a little bit later. Of course, it would be better to just get it right, get it totally right first before you duplicate it and make all the other toes, because then all your work will be increased times 4. There we go. And you know, most animation, your toes are not going to animate unless you're doing something that's very toe intensive. So I'm setting the custom axis to edge, set it to that edge, and you see how our manipulator now follows the angle of that edge. So we could scale in without worrying about the scale skewing out. It's a really useful tool that they've had in other software packages like Wings and Mirai, Wings is free, and that's a really old package that almost nobody's ever heard of. But Maya's kind of caught on a little bit when it comes to poly modeling. They used to have MJ Poly tools from Maya, which would let you do things like create edge loops before Maya realized that edge loops were super important in modeling. And now Maya has wisened up and includes all that stuff in the standard package. I'm not going to go on a soapbox rant of all the things that Maya is missing. So here we select that, and then we are duplicating the face. And you can find almost all the commands in that little shift right click. Okay. So we're just kind of roughing in where these other toes are. We don't have to be totally exact with it because we're gonna do that later. And the little pinky toe, little pinky piggy, is the weirdest one of all, and he kind of does not really want to conform to the other ones, so he's gonna get some special treatment. Okay, so we don't really want to do any uniform scaling from the center, because it's going to make our toes look weird from the side. Right now we have them kind of lined up well from the side, so we're just going to go in, we're going to move verts out sideways. So we're going to use the move tool to create our different shapes of the toes rather than the scale tool. Okay, and it's kind of your choice whether you want to make these toes actually butt up against each other or not. I'm kind of choosing not to. Totally, artistic choice. It's not really. It's kind of whatever kind of foot you want to make. Okay, so do the same thing with this toe. This one has kind of a bigger foot pad, so we'll try to increase it a little bit. Okay. It's really nice that we get to work in this this pre-smoothed view, because it was so difficult to do before they had that as an option. You kids don't know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know if who's watching, but it might be somebody who's never seen that. It might be somebody who has. It is generally, software's just been getting easier to use, more user-friendly every year. Artists are just coming up with just more and more amazing stuff. So it's really nice. remember hearing an anecdote back in art school that there was a woman who specialized in doing 3D bubbles. She would do bubbles for 7-Up commercials, and that was all she did, because software was that unsophisticated that to be the bubble person, you had to have a lot of mathematical skills and be good with bubbles. So that was her thing that she got hired on to do. We need 3D bubbles. Can you imagine that happening these days? It's just not the way the world works anymore. Now it's like just learn a bunch of stuff, and people are really rising up to that challenge and learning a lot. There's so much out there to learn. Okay, so that's the end of my rant. Back to these toes. So we're just kind of lining them up here with the foot. Again, we could veer off the image plane if we want. Not a big deal. Just as long as it looks right. So holding down hotkey V to snap to these verts. Just hold down V and move, and you'll snap to the verts. Okay, if you can also turn the view edges on if you want to see those more clearly. Okay, so we're doing kind of the same thing we did with the fingers. Just keep adding those in, except that with the toes we get kind of a bit of a free break because toes we don't have to be as nitpicky with how these toes look. Just get them kind of close, and they'll sell themselves. See, even in this rough kind of view, still look like toes. Okay, so once we sew those on, we're going to combine them, select all the verts, delete the faces that were there, select all the verts and merge them, and we'll be on to the next lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to be completing the foot and just adding the last touches to it with the bones on the sides of the ankle, whatever those things are called, and just all the other details of the foot. Thanks for watching.